Oh, yeah. I'm Terrell, Hall of Fame, D-Line, TBKC, and all that sweet, beautiful, wonderful shit. Check it out. Rarely do I discuss this topic. For one, it's hurtful, it's bothersome, it takes me back to a bad place. But then the flip side of it is it's a lot of good that comes out of it. So we're gonna talk about, you know what I mean, the one and only Deniro. You know, top shelf of top shelf and Hall of Fame. How could I forget my own Kendall's name? But Deniro, man. Of course, those who don't know the story with Deniro, bad boy. You know, bad boy. The story is sort of crazy with Deniro because it was actually a breeding where Dave was getting some pupbacks. And several of these, I guess he did a half of the litter, to breed Little Road to this bitch named Candy. And when he did the breeding, we used to work together like that. So, Danny ended up with the pups down there towards Miami. And me and Danny was partnering up. I was going back and forth to Florida all the time from Ohio. So they was like, well, T, you know what I'm saying? You take, originally I was supposed to take the two puppies. I was supposed to take them back with me. One of them was going to Mike's at Devil's Den. That's the dog that ended up being Mr. Pink. The other dog was this big brindle, man. I never know what happened to that dog. He had a white head, brindle body, like the Paco type of brindle. Beautiful dog, man. Beautiful dog. I don't know whatever happened to him. I'm sure he turned out to be a beast, though. That was a beautiful puppy. But I ended up delivering that dog. I think he went to Virginia. But anyway, then it was Deniro. Now, I don't know if y'all know the one of the original video vixens, Gloria Velez, but actually the dog was supposed to go to her. Dave and Cruz was on one of their kiss ass missions, and they was trying to give her a puppy. It was always those politics, it still is, to get dogs in celebrities' hands and say that the celebrity paid top dollar when really you gave the dog to them. You just using their name for promotion. So long story short, I was supposed to take the dog down there or whatever, and she ended up getting booked to do a show or an event somewhere, and so she wasn't gonna be in Miami. So with that being said, she let them know, like, we might have to do it another time and another puppy, because her schedule had got packed real good, So it was what it was. So then Danny was looking at him. We was looking at him. It's like, man, this is going to be a badass little dog, man. He just had so much bone and so much chest. He was a thick little dog. So Danny called Dave, and of course, now he was going to get a damn dog to Gloria. But we supposed to be his homies. His Dave ain't never changed. They wanted $5,000 for him. So we, me and Danny went in $2,500 a piece on this little dude. So I took him back, up to Ohio and shit, and, he was kicking it at the condo. And I just kept telling Danny, I'm like, man, this little dog has turned out to be something else, man. And he was like, man, send him back, So, I had Hallie and, several other dogs at the time. So I send the dog back to Miami, and Danny started taking pictures of him and putting the shit out. So the dog started blowing, man. He was all on the MSN boards. Now, keep in mind, it's a very long time ago. You're talking about 2007, 2008. So Paco was already the man. And Lil Ro, the father of them both, he was doing his thing. Now, the problem started because right off top, when we did the pictures, you know what I mean? Danny was like, man, look, 5,000. If you want to use him, 5,000. It's just that simple. He that type of stuff, 5,000. If you can't do that, then don't even worry about it, because he was trying to align him up with Paco's stud fees. Whew. That, like what Marco said with Paco, didn't deter people. man, we was getting so many calls to use him, and Danny was just doing the manager thing because for one, he didn't want everybody to use him before we did, but we was getting probably 10 calls a week, easy. People serious, ready to drop money to use the boy, but you know, Danny was still turning a lot of people down and nah, I ain't fucking with you. And part of that became members of the EE. Some of the members of the EE wanted to use him, and you know, we was already starting to be on the outs with them guys, so it was more so like, you know what? Let's keep him up out of their hands, you know. So we just kept building the momentum on the dog. Now, this goes to that notorious show y'all heard me talk about, that Atlanta show. And you know, at this time, I had posted this dog before, but my boy Bam Childress, he had a dog named Tupac that I had kept for him. Manu boy, beautiful, shredded up, old school dog. You know, and they was keeping that dog for him, but he wanted us to get the dog, and there was a lot of beef going on. I won't go into all that. I have before though, but so Danny go over there, boom, you know, he snatched the dog up from them, go up in their hotel room and shit. The crazy ass Cuban. But this is when we had that dog out, and people was already circling around that dog because he was a bad motherfucker. So then Danny popped Deniro out, walking around the parking lot. And you already knew it was going to be a problem because he had that same effect as Hallie. The whole parking lot following this dog around. And when I tell y'all, for y'all can get the idea, he wasn't perfect. Deniro had a slightly high rear, and I say he was easty, not easty-westy. He had one paw that would turn out. It was weird as hell. He had one paw that would turn out. But he was so phenomenal in every other area. You hadn't seen nothing like this. Like, to this day, I don't know if I've seen a dog built like that. Like, his chest was so squared off, and his shoulder muscles popped out just so. He was huge, this big-ass neck with this line going down the middle. You know what I mean? And he was super, super tight, just like with knots. It was almost like compartments of muscle all over the dog. And he was a legitimate, like, right at 14 inches. Weight-wise, you know what I'm saying, like 70 pounds, but just shredded, man, shredded. 24-inch head, had that big little roll type head, blocky cheeks, the whole nine. So we just like, here we go. Here we go. So we go to the show. And keep in mind, at this show, Marco had Gargoyle there. He had another dog. I always forget that dog's name. It was a dog that he had did some shit with Hef with, but he had a white head. But it was some dogs in the house. Let's just say that. Suge Knight was there. Hef was there. H2 was there. Now, you know, this shit was so live because and I'm just telling y'all this because about the dog. And you know, anytime they threw them shows in Atlanta, it was jumping. So it was tons of dogs. I could keep on naming dogs forever. Man, Danny was like, man, I'm gonna be in the ring, so I don't even wanna he was like, I don't even really wanna too much fuck with these cats on this confirmation shit, you know? And he was like, you already know he got the high rear, so that's gonna be a reason for them to, you know, kick him out in the first, you know, round and try to embarrass him or whatever. Cause there was already some hating shit coming from the EE because we was out. We had already started our own thing. You know, and some of y'all know the backstory behind that. Wild shit. But anyway, so Danny like, okay, we're going to put him in there for best pocket. So they put all these pockets in there. Keep in mind, I told y'all it's a lot of pockets in there. And he snatched him out the box. He is so lightweight, kept him on the, since that parking lot incident, he had kept him on the low. And so, you know, I'm being stupid because I got beef in the building. You know, I'm on my young and dumb shit. I'm basically walking around the building looking to check everybody. So it was Danny handling all the dog shit. So what happened is he go in and he win the best overall pocket. You know, they gave it to him. This is the fun show, but this is where we come from. This is our roots at the time. You know, this is literally like the ABKC is a baby at this point, like a year, maybe 2 years in, because it always say 2004 is when it started, but it didn't. Halle didn't win her championship, I think, until 2006 or 7. 2006, if I ain't mistaken. But anyway, so now shit getting real. And man, they put it down. They put him down for the best, you know what I'm saying, for the people's choice. Shit got live. People in the building like start chanting his name. Deniro, Deniro. They just kept on. It got louder and it got louder. And you can see a lot of shit faces in the building because, you know what I mean, you had that whole EE, I ain't gonna say the whole, but Dave, Cruz, and a lot of them that was on they hating shit. And basically we just taking over the party. And it's a picture of me and Danny with him with all of these trophies, these big ass trophies, because he took everything. And shit was live, all the way live at this point. You know, the dog was really had elevated itself to the point to where only dog that you out there that you could say was gonna get it better than he was gonna get it was Paco, and Paco was established, you know. With that being said, shortly thereafter, you know what I mean, that's when I got in trouble, and I went on my little paid vacation. And Deniro was still hitting him, man. He was hitting him in the mouth. It's some nice ass Deniro blood out there right now. He ended up doing, it was only like 8 or 9 breedings, but the shit was fire, man. And Danny was doing the real manager thing. He was lining them up. You know what I'm saying? He's about to raise the fee up to 10 grand. Because that's, you know, Danny ain't fucking around. Danny ain't like me. He gonna get that paper. And the dog was pretty much, he was doing his thing, man. You know, he was getting that worldwide acclaim. Then that's when, on a Father's Day 2009, is when, you know what I'm saying, Danny came home and his daughter went outside in the back and shit and found like Deniro, which other one? Man, I ain't gonna name all the dogs, but shit, I forget a couple of their names at this moment anyway, but man, it was a lot of dogs dead, just put it that way, you know. There's a lot of dogs dead, you know, and some of y'all heard this story, but you know, somebody asked me about it, you know, and I'll conclude in a different way than this. But Deniro was the main dog. Deniro was the one they wanted dead in the first place, you know what I mean? I think to kill the other dogs was just a thing to spite Danny. But they wanted Deniro dead because, man, he was, you know, he was getting at him, and Danny was denying certain people that he wasn't supposed to deny. Well, wasn't supposed to deny, but they thought they wasn't supposed to be denied. So it ended up that way. And, you know, I explained this before, but when it come to Danny's house, Danny literally stayed in the country. He still stayed there, you know. His house is so far out the way. I'm his brother. I've been to his house I don't know how many times. And I still cut on my navigation to get out there. You know, once I get close to it, I know where I'm at. But he stayed in the cut, you know. And the only people who had ever been to Danny's house was EE members, you know. So, you know, he found some tracks to where they had came through these bushes in the back and everything like that and jumped over this fence to get into the yard. But, you know, his neighbors had horses. He's good friends with his neighbor. Had horses. The other one had a bunch of animals and some bees. They used to do the bee thing. So it was all love around the spot. He ain't have beef with nobody. You know, whoever did that came and snuck in the back. You know, and putting 2 plus, you know, putting 1 and 1 together to equal out to the 2, you know, I mean, it was the same scenario that ultimately cost Paco his life, you know. Paco was doing too much on the stud fees, you know, taking money out of, you know, certain people's pockets, you know, let's just say that. And at the end of the day, you know, it was multiple attempts on Paco's life. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, they got Deniro the first time, but you know, this is how dirty the game was, you know. And ultimately, you know, leading into what I'm saying next is like, you know, I do believe that, you know, Deniro was probably, you know, one of the baddest studs that the bully world never really got to take advantage of. And I say that, you know what I'm saying? I say that based off of some of his productions. He had a lot of local productions down there that were nice, you know. Danny had sold something to a couple of his folks down there, man. Dogs is nice as hell. The big problem is you know, after that issue, it really fucked with Danny to the point where he stepped away from the dogs, you know. He only kept a couple old few dogs, but he stepped all the way away. I was gone for a couple years, so you know, none of that blood ever really got a chance to really do nothing after that. And it was crazy because he was producing himself on a lot of shit. He was producing some blocky dogs, but they was cleaner, you know, blocky with a ton of muscle, big ass heads, you know. And it was amazing because we was just about to link up and do the breeding with him and Hallie, which would have been epic, man, epic. You know, we actually did. This should tell you how luck goes, you know, or don't go, you know. The breeding with Deniro to Hallie is the breeding that killed Hallie. You know, had 13 puppies up in there. One of them died inside of her and went septic, and that's what poisoned her, you know, and really poisoned all the other puppies. So it's a hell of a story when at the end of the day, you know what I mean? It was like at that point in time when I heard that shit, I was like, man, I don't even know if I can do this shit no more. You know, I don't know if, you know, you start to doubt yourself because everything had been such smooth, you know, easy to do and easy to handle for so long that when you get to a point that like people poisoning your dogs, you know, these people didn't call the police on me, you know, that's a whole different story, but the bully world ain't shit. But but you know, it was a hell of a knock, you know what I mean? Because we going from a mindset of being like, boom, we about to put the best of both worlds together and do this Hallie and Deniro, and we ended up with no puppies, and both dogs is dead, you know, within months of each other, literally. Well, I say, well, within a year of each other, I think, something like that. It was close. It was close. But anyway, you know, this dude was a little rose son. And like I say, he produced his ass off, man. And I think it was only like, I'm pretty sure it was 9 breeds. I don't even think he got to 10, but it was on point, man. So when I tell y'all look up my little dude Deniro, man, and y'all understand that he was just a victim of the circumstances of the American bully community. But when I tell y'all he really put it down and he was a badass stud, the dude was bad. He had royalty blood. He was half Edge, half Gotti, directly off of Little Row. When he did go out, he stole the show from the biggest names in the game, and he represented. It was just the evil that, you know, it was the evil that we lost out on that dog. And like I told y'all, it's years later. We talking about what, almost 15 years later, and even now, I still ain't seen too many pockets or nothing that can really mess with him as far as compact, straight muscle. And it's a difference, you know what I mean? Like, he was very, very compact and blocky, you know, even more so than Denzel. You know, he carried the same type of weight as Denzel, but he was more compact than Denzel. And he was tighter than Denzel. You know, Denzel had the better structure, but, man, just an incredible dog. So, you know, he was one of the ones, man, that I tell y'all always say, why don't you show your yard? That's why I don't show my yard. I don't care to let people around because I might have to pop one of y'all asses. And that's the truth. You know, damn dog thieves and dog killers and all this shit. I ain't got time for that shit. I've been to kill y'all. But rest in peace, Deniro, man. Probably one of the best studs y'all never know about. Till later, much love. Peace.